We are back 8:35 now with a very important story about mental health.
I know this is very close to your heart, Carson.
Yeah, guys, absolutely. I had a chance to sit down with Eric and Terry Murray. They're the parents of two-time PGA Tour winner Grayson Murray, who tragically took his own life last spring. To honor his legacy, they're now sharing his story for the first time in hopes of helping others who are struggling.
It was always, I want to be a professional golfer.
When did you know he could hit a golf ball?
7.5. He had never hit a golf ball in his life, and they were just flying high and straight. Good shot, Grayson.
Grayson Murray was in the prime of his career. Just 30 years old.
Grayson Murray has done it again!
With 2 PGA titles and earning a coveted invitation to the Masters.
There's not a day goes by that Grayson, we have a picture of him on the Masters hanging up above the sofa. I look up there every day.
He'd spoken openly about struggling with his mental health. It seemed like he had turned a corner.
I wanted to give up a lot of times. Give up on myself, give up on the game of golf, give up on life at times. Just persevere.
He wins the tournament. That gets him an invitation to the Super Bowl of golf, the Masters in Augusta. You must have felt leading into that time period, he was in a really good place.
We did. Yeah, we did.
What was that time like at Augusta?
The whole family went and watched him. Gosh, we'll never lose those memories.
Yeah.
Just a month later, his story took a tragic turn. Murray suddenly withdrew from the tournament at Colonial, citing illness. The following day, he took his own life. News of his tragic death shocked the golf community.
There is sad news to report. Grayson Murray has died at the age of 30.
Grayson's parents, Terry and Eric, will never forget the call they couldn't bear to hear.
I got a call telling me that he had been found deceased. It's tough.
I mean, that is every parent's worst nightmare to get that call.
It's a nightmare, and it doesn't stop.
How did the tour life, being alone, isolated, on the road?
It's hard. It's hard.
Very hard. He would go and, drink and gamble. That was tough for him out on the road.
And we're not saying anything that Grayson hasn't said.
Sure.
He's told this story. And in our eyes, he's a hero for telling it.
I spoke to a few tour players who said, it's like, I got to give it to Grayson. He was open about it. Do you think he wanted to get better?
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
Grayson couldn't understand why people couldn't offer grace.
What did it mean to Grayson?
Forgiveness. He tried to get better. He did everything he could.
Grayson checked into rehab in 2021 for alcoholism and sought help to treat anxiety and depression.
So a lot of highs, a lot of lows.
Yeah.
Recovery, rehab.
Yeah.
How hard was that for you guys to navigate such an emotional roller coaster?
It's hard. I mean, he would put on a happy face out on the road. Our house became his safe haven. If he was depressed, he would go in his room and he wouldn't come out for 2 and 3 days.
And he could get in those deep tunnels or the dark holes.
Eric, just tell me, when Grayson was home, what sorts of things was he saying to you?
We sat on the sofa and we both just sat there and cried. And I was holding him like a baby.
What was he saying?
He was talking about how hard it was physically and emotionally to keep doing what he's doing.
How hard was it to not say, son, you got to come off the road. We want you to move back into the house. How did you work that?
I actually asked him to do that.
To stop playing golf?
Yes, I did. But Grayson loved golf. There's no place on earth that he was happier than on the golf course. But at the same time, it was very difficult.
In a journal, Grayson wrote about his desire to help others who struggle.
I found all those notes. He actually wrote a plan.
A plan to create the Grayson Murray Foundation to raise awareness and help people facing mental health issues.
You're seeing through his vision of what he wanted. People may read about a Grayson that's different. What I hear when I talk to people who knew Grayson, I hear of a guy that met a small pediatric cancer patient and his family who was struggling, and Grayson did something incredible.
Yes.
Bought a car for him.
And bought him a car.
He was like that from the time he was this high.
I hear somebody that was incredibly empathetic.
He used to tell me, if I can just help one person,
It was worth it.
It was worth it.
As you two sit here talking to us, I mean, you just exude grace.
Oh, thank you.
You were in Hawaii for the year anniversary of his win at the Sony Open, and the tour did a nice memorial to his life. The players were all there.
The family that the PGA has meant to our family.
As we were throwing the petals in the ocean, 2 white doves flew by. So we knew that it was a sign that Grayson was right there with us.
I was so inspired by the Murray's strength and grace. You know, behind the scenes, Grayson helped a lot of people in tough times. In fact, a former college teammate told me that Grayson drove 6 hours to Georgia to help him move after he had a divorce. I heard that he covered medical costs for a bunch of caddies out on tour anonymously. In Grayson's journal, he wrote about helping people that he had met in rehab who couldn't continue to afford the treatment. In fact, that's one of the goals of the new foundation. His parents even inscribed his words on his gravestone: "Be kind to one another." That's how Grayson lived his life. And we've got a lot more in our conversation with the Murrays and information about Grayson Murray, the Grayson Murray Foundation. That's at the website. And as always, if you are in crisis, you can always call or text the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988 or contact the crisis text line by texting the word TALK to 741-741.
That was an amazing story. And as I've said to you before, I love that you continue to use this platform that we have, this megaphone that we have, do stories like that.
Well, they're nice enough to allow me to do it. Look, no one wants to talk about this stuff. It's a hard topic. But these, you know, the grace and the courage of the Murray family sharing these stories. There's people watching who can relate to this, and we're just hoping that I can help some people.
It sounds like he had so much empathy, and sometimes people who have suffered so much have the biggest hearts, and they see it and they want to do something. They want to help others, and it's beautiful that he's able to see that vision through his parents.
Glad we could help.
Carson, thank you.
It just also confirms, not to belabor the point, you just never know what people are dealing with.
That is
people
absolutely
who seem
true.
like they're okay on the outside, you just never know what's happening here. So, thank you, sir.
Yep.
All right.
Lots more to get to on this Monday morning, including some important tips for winter driving that could make all the difference when the